Hello there, my name is Jessica Gonzalez. The theory that I have is I was assigned comprehensible input. Comprehensible input is a theory where students in the classroom who are learning a new language are to reach one level higher of what they already are. And when doing this, it's the whole theory is to make meaning out of and messages out of your learning. So to do this, we can use a lot of visuals, a lot of sentence structures, sentence frames to help students in their writing, but also pulling the students off before instruction to go over what's going to happen during instruction so they know what to expect, and offering these assists gets them used to what proper writing is supposed to look like and feel like, and allows them to form those processes in their head, rather than memorization. So the two theories that I wanted to also share, the theoretical perspectives from the panel, were nativist and cognitivism. So nativism, and it was written by Debbie, one of the ladies in the Harmonize, but basically, nativism is the theory that children are born with a predetermined readiness to learn language. So this, I feel like, points directly to the case study that we were looking over with Mateo, because he already had, of course, his first language in his head. So when he would say phrases like I go store yesterday, when really the English language would interpret that as yesterday I went to the store, he was using his prior knowledge of Spanish in the home and nativism to portray what he was trying to think. So we can use students already, what they already know from nativism, from the language that they're already speaking at home, to build on their new knowledge of a new language. By doing this, students can be stronger in the way that they speak. So we learned that Mateo struggled with academic vocabulary, but he was doing really well with his conversational vocabulary. And this is because he was only using conversational vocabulary on the playground or with his peers, but his academic vocabulary was only being touched on when the lessons were being taught. So, along with nativism, when children are brought into the world, the theory is that they are already, like I mentioned before, ready to learn language, but they have like a built-in kind of process that makes them ready to learn things like grammar and structure. And that's also what Debbie said in her analysis too. And then as far as the next topic, the next theory, cognitivism, goes, cognitivism is a theory that is actually learned a lot about in psychology, and I learned about it many times before when I was in a different major. But cognitivism studies how students think and process information and make connections. So this really ties into nativism because it brings in that background prior knowledge that we were talking about earlier. In using what students already know to build on and make their language, their new language, stronger. And then going back to the example of Mateo's conversational English, of course, amongst his peers, he's using that conversational English all the time. But he doesn't tap into his academic language enough to have that vocabulary become a natural thing for him on the playground or in the classroom. Um, I really like the theory of cognitivism because it points out what areas need growth. So for Mateo, it would be his academic language, his vocabulary, his grammar. But and we recognize also the strengths in that um we see his that he has great ideas, and they just need a little bit of growth in those certain categories. So and then this also connects to my theory, which was comprehensible input, because it's taking what we know and then reaching a level higher and making those meaningful connections. So all of these tie really well together, and there are definitely a lot of similarities. I would say that in the classroom, in English language instruction, it's so important that we give students that assistance with graphic organizers, with sentence structures, with peer-to-peer learning, peer group learning, allowing them to learn from each other. And all of these can work in each theory because they all connect. And offering those supports to the students will allow them to see what writing, what reading is supposed to look like, and allow them to get their thoughts onto paper or spoken out loud. And then the two classmates I that wrote oh that wrote the two theories was Jalen Sosa for cognitivism, and then Debbie Ricks for nativist. Thank you.